Hello and welcome to the review for Orca, the killer whale. Dun dun dun. Got an outtake in my head. Got an outtake in my head. Anyway, so I remember seeing Orca, the killer whale DVD in HMV Gateshead Volume 1, which was the two shops. And I remember seeing the artwork and like the whale coming out, and I think it was a very hand-drawn, painted one. But I'd never seen it, and a few people have said, oh, it's mint. Like my friend Action Jackson was like, oh, Orca's mint. And like, yeah, I'm a massive fan of Jaws, and I'm a massive fan of real-life creature feature effects, like Tremors, Jaws, Anaconda, to the extent of I think the Anaconda snake is creepy as shit, because it's there. I mean, the CGI bit where he like kills them and all that's not great, but it's part of the time. I think animatronics and creature features, it's there, it's real, it's scary. And like, I think like the lion in Jumanji, when it comes out the shadows, I think just before it comes out the shadows, when you can see it's actually there, I think it's quite scary. But CGI now just kind of goes oof. So I took a wing on this one at full price, which I don't normally do. I normally wait till they go down. It's a studio canal. It's pretty much only got one new interview with a Frenchman, Philippe Gent, butchered his name. I don't know what part of the movie he has. Enzo Morricone, obviously music for The Thing, is on the soundtrack, and Richard Harris is the star. And one of the IMDb credits is the debut of Bo Derek, and every time I hear Bo Derek, I just think of Matt Riddle from the wrestling. But yeah, it's been released like that. It came out in 4K first as a steelbook, and then this was released a couple of weeks later, so it was a weird one for it not to get like an ensemble release across the formats. And I've picked up a few Studio Canal ones recently, Devil Girl from Mars and stuff like that, so I've been normally just putting them on while I'm in the studio and then there in the background. And last night I sat and watched this one full on, obviously the new plasma curved telly. And what did I think of Orca? So it wasn't what I expected. I was expecting a bit of a Moby Dick. I was expecting, hunting down. What I wasn't expecting was have post-traumatic stress over it, because I remember being in Auckland when I was a kid in New Zealand and being in one of the sea worlds and actually a killer whale animatronic coming right out. And it was like one of them carriage cars things. I still have Vietnam flashbacks of the King Kong ride, but I've actually been to SeaWorld and I actually seen Shamu and stuff like that, and I think on my fridge there's still the SeaWorld original thing I got then. And killer whales are kind of like, oh yeah, they're meant to be lovely, they just look like they look beautiful. And I wouldn't get in the water with one of them. It's fucking terrifying. But obviously Free Willy was a massive thing back in the day, and there's like 4 Free Willies, and then there's obviously the Blackfish documentary, which I've never seen because I don't like to see animals harmed. I've got that. I'm that kind of human where I don't like to see animals harmed. So I put this on not knowing what it was about, but I was intrigued by how they would do it in the animatronics, and I wasn't expecting. It did really well to almost humanize killer whales and how intelligent they are. I thought there was a lot of information and presented well. I sponged it all in, like the fact that the echolocations and all the harmonies and how intelligent were and the size of the brains and all that. I thought they did well, and obviously made for life. And I kind of guessed what was kind of going to happen straight away, that obviously one of them was going to die. I wasn't expecting it to be so graphic for a 12. Obviously a killer whale committing suicide by head-butting the rotation blade, the propeller of the boat, and it being so graphic, and then it's stillborn coming out and landing on the floor and stuff. I was just like, wow. So I can kind of see why this hasn't been out for a while, because it has been reclassified as a 12. I'm not sure if this would have been a PG. I mean, Jaws is a 12 now, originally was a PG. So I was like, whoa. And then it was like kind of like the whole idea that the fucking whale has got it in for you. And it was the fact I kept giving the evil eye it was giving the eye and it was flashing red like some kind of Hitchcock kind of thing where I was like, And, you know, I was watching it and I think what Orca has, it probably has one of the most terrifying scuba diver shark scenes ever. I think the guy when he's in scuba diving and the shark that is absolutely golden and also terrifying because you'll be like, ooh, fuck, and he starts to try and hide with a brick. Then all of a sudden the orca comes in and attacks it and kicks the shit out of it and you think, really? They use the fin quite well. I think Richard Harris, he's always been a kind of actor you just don't like. So he was a kind of like, yeah, fucking hell. You know, why would you go out there and just hunt stuff like that? And then he's kind of like, you know, for years of fishermen, he's kind of like, oh yeah, I didn't really know about killer whales. Are you fucking serious? I mean, you're meant to be an experienced fisherman. So that kind of like, to me, was just like, what an arrogant fucking idiot to not even realise like what killer whales were. And again, the woman comes across quite well. And then sort of the fucking killer whale comes back for revenge. It's stalking them down. It's like Jaws, the Revenge, ripped this movie off for like, right, you're in for it. You know, it brings its fallen partner, leaves it on the shore, it follows him, it knows him, it starts wiping out the fucking boats. And it's done quite, you know, very well because, you know, the practical boats are sinking in the bay. And for the majority of it, it is like stock of a killer whale. Like they've tried, and I would say it's really well edited, except for like the weird composites when they're dueling, jumping up, and, you know, again, 4K tellies and stuff like that, you can see the overlay outlines a little bit, but for the time, fucking hell, you know, and this thing's going crazy. And then it like pulls a fucking Frankenstein on you when, like, because the back of the box you see like northern you know, like freezing Antarctica kind of going up there, and she's going up there, and like a few other people get death. The guy who gets killed when it goes and you think, what the fuck. And then there's like shots where he ends up on the ice block floating out and it gets tilted, and like I thought that was like stunning. And like then they're like trying to hide it because they're trying to hide the animatronic, but I think like now it will all be green screen, and you're like, I freeze framed it and went, look at that, you know, they've got the ice, you've got the look of the waters right, you know, you're on this block of life, you're going sliding down. Yes, that's going to look a bit Jaws-y, but like, you're fucked. But I think it was just like, as an experience, I enjoyed it, but like looking back at it now, I was like, yeah, well, like, what the fuck? It is a pretty much like a what the fuck movie, because like just some of the like the weirdness, and then obviously the Indian guy comes into it and he seems to have his whole brigade and they go out to the sea and one by one there was none kind of thing. And the way, you know, well, again, it was made in 1977. The way he dies by the really weird ending, I know I complimented the ending before, but the fact that suddenly the fucking gets flipped, lands on the fucking rock and slides down, I was like, really? Like, really? And then the last two just gets a leg ripped off. It was like, he's fucking crazy ass killer whale, like, but yeah. Yeah, I always remember that thing back in Auckland in New Zealand. It's scary. And I also remember when I seen Free Willy, like, you know, the fact that it flashes and Samu's actually there. And he's like, ah! You know, the intelligent creatures, like. But I think the film, like, it generally, it give the animal purpose, and, you know, it was done with a kind of like, how dare humans, and it carries a good message. How dare humans just go into the natural wildlife and decide that you have the right to take that because we're humans, and it's right, you know what I mean? It's wrong. The animals have rights too, and with that, it's kind of like, you know, like 1977 again. These creatures are absolute a miracle, and the poaching side of it and all that, I think, how are you, man? Fucking hell. But I just wasn't prepared for, you know, suicidal ones, headbutting things, stillborns and stuff like that. That was like, whoa. You know, for a 12, I would say this should be a 15. You know, because people probably look at it now and go, yeah, it's not that funny. But I think it was a bit of a letdown when the extra content. I think, you know, when you're going to polish something like that up there, you know, we get a really good, I mean, that just looks straight out of Jaws, doesn't it? And even like the cards are just black and white paper. There he is, Richard Harris. Yeah, there you go. Fucking takes out a whole fucking house. And then you got one there. That's the last one, gets a leg bit off. So like practical effects and all that, you know. There was a bit where it goes, and like it looked great. It really did look great. I mean, the hands down, like the killer whale looked far better than Jaws. The animatronic side of it and stuff like that. So yeah, brand new restoration. And yeah, I want to sort some outtakes out. Goodbye for now. Hello and welcome to the dog. Move it, move it, move it, move it, move it, move it. Next outtake. So outtake number one, there you go. That is an original one from... Yeah. It's actually weird printing that. But I got this in 1991 from SeaWorld. You can see a copyright, it's like half cut off, but yeah. It's upside down, well done, Shabu. I think somewhere there's an actual toy of it. I've got a funny story about SeaWorld though. I remember my granddad getting a hat. And I think it was in like Puerto Rico or something like that when we were younger. And some guy approached my granddad to ask for his hat. And they said, oh, like, we'll swap your hat for, again, you know, I spent a lot of time with grandparents because my dad was in New Zealand. I think it was his son. Said, oh, you can have some time with the dolphins. And so my granddad was good enough to like, oh yeah, the hat did give me the experience of dolphins. I had no idea I would be pushed in with the dolphins. You know, it was like the private enclosed thing out the back. And I just remember going, yeah, get in. And like, all of a sudden these dolphins are coming towards us. Like, I fucking told you I had post-traumatic stress. And I totally remember that. And it's like, again, I like everyone. I generally did get a fear of sharks from Jaws. But I think there's more crazy ass creatures out there. But yeah, fucking dolphins are just as dangerous. Right, they're going to the outtake. And here is me outtake. Jaws Unleashed, the video game, PlayStation 2. 18. Nature's ultimate predator has been unleashed. You are Jaws. Devour everything in sight, terrorize the Amity Island community, prey on some awesome bosses, including killer whales, great giant squid, and more. So there. So the start of this, you break out of your confinement and you go around pretty much like SeaWorld. And remember, SeaWorld was involved in Jaws 3, and basically you end up having a fight with a killer whale, and you can't not say that that was probably a reaction to the way the great white gets absolutely like smacked around, eaten alive and butchered, even though the ending is really weird when it does. And there's like this footage of the shark going, and it's just like choppy choppy. You can kind of see that someone in Universal goes, yeah, make sure a killer whale gets its comeuppance when they made this, because obviously this was made years after even Jaws the Revenge, and obviously well before Man-Eater was made, which is obviously where the structure of the game probably came from when they made the Man-Eater game. But yeah, Jaws Revenge, obviously license issues sit there in the void. But yeah, start the first level, you fight a killer whale, and yeah, this has been the review, Rant Random, for Orca the killer whale. It lives in the connection now. Yeah, enough said. Thanks for watching. Goodbye for now. Slap your hand. Goodbye for now.